Hi everybody, my name is Monor and welcome back to Page Turners, which is our diverse book club geared towards teens and young adults. Today we're going to be talking about the book It All Comes Back to You by Naz Rishi. But before we get into it, I'm going to be listing some content and trigger warnings for you on the screen right here. And I will say that this review might contain some spoilers, so if you don't want any spoilers, now's your chance to click off the video. Okay, let's get into it. It All Comes Back to You focuses on our two main characters, Kiran and Dean. They used to date a few years back, and now their siblings, Amira and Faisal respectively, are planning on getting married. And Kiran thinks it's way too soon. They've only been seeing each other for 3 months, and she thinks that's not enough time for them to know each other in order to get married. They all end up meeting for dinner one night, and she gets a really weird vibe from Faisal. He tends to stammer over his words a lot after she asks him questions, and overall seems kind of distant during the dinner. Kiran ends up overhearing something about a secret that Dean and Faisal and their family have been keeping for the past 3 years, and she automatically becomes suspicious, as she should be. When we switch to Dean's point of view, we find out that Faisal is really nervous about telling Amira the truth about what happened in his past. Kiran tries to do some digging to see if she can find anything online. She seems to have found somebody from Faisal's past that she could get information out of, and she knows that Faisal won't talk to her about it, so she goes to talk to Dean about it instead. Dean basically denies knowing anything, and it really frustrates Kiran, obviously. Kiran is trying to save Amira from marrying someone who hasn't been very forthcoming about who he is, so she develops this 3-step plan to break them up. And even though she starts to feel a little guilty about what she's doing, she ultimately thinks that Amira would be better off, which is why she continues on with her plan. Kiran ends up finding a journal entry while they're at Dean and Faisal's house, and she tears it out of the notebook and keeps it in her purse for later. Dean finds out that Kiran knows something about Faisal's past. He promises to tell her what the whole truth is, but only after the wedding. For the time being, Kiran agrees to lay off Faisal's past. It seems like Kiran's plan is working because Amira starts to have doubts about the wedding as they approach closer and closer to it, and that's when Kiran realizes that maybe she's gone too far. Ultimately, Kiran and Dean just wanted to protect their older siblings, even if they didn't go about it in the best ways. And even though Kiran is really suspicious of Faisal and him marrying Amira, Amira tries to console Kiran in telling her they're going to be doing a sort of version of premarital counseling at their masjid to make sure that they're both ready for that type of commitment. The wedding finally comes around and goes off without a hitch until immediately after the wedding ceremony is over. It turns out that Kiran found Faisal's ex-girlfriend online and contacted her and asked her to come to the wedding. Once she finds out the whole truth from her, she goes to Faisal and Amira immediately whilst everyone is celebrating them, and it doesn't go well. They have the wedding annulled. We find out that most of what Leah says is true, except for the fact that Faisal was covering for Dean as well. I'm not gonna give too much away just because I feel like this book had a lot of twists and turns that I wasn't expecting, and I think that it kept it very interesting because of that. And so for that, I really enjoyed this one. I think it was really good to see Kiran and Dean grow up and grow out of their selfish ways and take accountability for the respective parts that they've played in this whole process. So I hope y'all consider checking this one out, and we'll see you next time.